Around to look for you.
Mr. Beatty.
Well, Nanny, you had a good idea to stay here.
Mr. Beatty, how are you? Mr. Beatty, how are you? Bongani, God's very own. Yeah, leadership. Yeah, leadership. How's the lockdown, leadership? This lockdown got us eating stuff we haven't eaten in a long time. Anyways, it's all fun. It's all awesome. Yeah, good to see you. Good to see you, Tato. I saw you exercising, eh? This lockdown is good. People are exercising, and yeah, hopefully they're eating healthy as well. People have gone back to eating amagwinya. You know, eating all these nice foods that we, yeah. And Gladys, how are you? All right, so Mr. Dwango, how are you doing, sir? Guys, I just want to share a few thoughts with you. Mr. Jola, how are you doing, sir? So I just want to share some few thoughts with you regarding, you know, unfortunately our history. I'm not sure whether this should have been covered in history or economics. I have no idea. I should be economics. But what I realize is that a lot of people do not necessarily understand the history of money. I did not. I only got to learn about it. I think the first time I started looking into the subject was 2015, when I got introduced to gold and Bitcoin and stuff like that. I started, you know, studying the money supply and all of that. So I learned quite a lot about the history of money. Now, this is what I picked up, and I want us to talk about today. And that is, with every emergence of a new form of money, you know, there is always also an emergence of new industries around that form of money, okay? So which ultimately has huge economic spin-offs in, you know, in that particular country, you know, or setting. Thinking about when human beings, you know, started looking at coinage, looking at coins as a form of money. There's been all sorts of different coins, but I want to talk about gold, for example, right now. You know, when people started migrating from whatever form of money they were using, from seashells to the, I think it was called the rhinestone, to salt. Some parts of West Indies and sugar, you know. So there's been all forms of money, you know, in the past up until this day. So I mean, I'm thinking now, when they introduce coins as a form of money, let's talk about gold coins for an example, okay? Assuming that gold at the time was not necessarily something that was precious, even if it was, it would mean that now the mining industry, people mining this gold, there will be a huge demand for mining. As a result, a lot of people will actually leave agriculture or whatever they were busy with and go and look into mining, things like gold. So you would have a boom in the mining industry. So that's number one. And then secondly, next to that, now that this gold, as raw as it is taken out of the ground, it will have to be refined. So now there will be secondary industry, which will be the refinery, okay? And apart from it being refined, now there will have to be people who are basically going to mint these coins in different sizes and different weights that people can be able to use. Now we've got a third industry, that is now born, okay? And then on top of that, because now it's becoming, a thing, you'll find that whenever there is a new form of money, it does not necessarily at the click of a button now erases the previous forms of money. There will always be what is called off-ramps and on-ramps into the new form of money. So meaning there will be people who are trading whatever the previous form of money, into the new form of money and vice versa. So now there's the fourth industry born already. And then from time immemorial, there's always been criminals. So that now you have the fourth industry born, and that is criminals. People who now want to steal this gold, who want to rob for this gold and stuff like that. Now what would have to happen to counter that? There would have to be security. So now there would be security guards who would either collect this money and transport it elsewhere. There would be vaults that are built. People who have got lots of money would rather maybe hire people, hire people's vaults, which will be highly fortified so that people cannot really break in and steal. So you can see, the economic spin-offs when it comes to, the new form of money. Now here we are in the 21st century. We've got something called cryptocurrencies, okay? Now, I've seen that, over the last 10 years, this has really had, a huge effect on specifically countries that were, brave enough to adopt this thing when people were not necessarily sure in terms of where it's going. I'm thinking now of countries like Japan. Now there's a new form of money. Okay, let's look at it. What are the industries that this new form of money, though not yet, widely adopted, though it's still in its infancy, but what has it done? Over the last short 10 years. A decade is very, very short. Now, this new form of money. Now there is mining. Mining in the sense that. There's computers that are, in fact, even before mining. Let's talk about manufacturing. There's now a new manufacturing industry where people would manufacture, these specialized computers that are used to basically run, this network for this new form of money. Your ASICs, it even brought, a huge, boost into. Companies like NVIDIA that are producing like your graphics cards and stuff like that. So manufacturing is boosted because of this new form of money. Then on top of that, you'd have business people, entrepreneurs who would be mining this coin. In this day and era, nobody goes underground. We're talking about people that are buying these highly powered servers that will do this job called mining. What is that? That's simply computers that are doing three things. One, those computers will then secure the network of this new form of money. They would also power the network. They would also verify transactions, and that process includes verifying transactions and recording them on the blockchain and stuff like that. On top of that, there would be, again, on-ramps and off-ramps of this new currency. In this instance, we're talking about exchanges like your Luno, Altcoin Trader. There is now Numi. There's just so many of them. If you look like right now across the world, you're talking about companies that have generated, billions in profits, over the last 10 years, because again of this new form of money. So, and then, you have people producing Bitcoin, wallets, either hardware wallets. Again, security becomes an issue. People, producing, hardware wallets and all sorts of things. And what does it do for employment, entrepreneurship development, and skills development for that matter? Right now, most industries are reeling behind, this whole economic collapse and stuff like that. People are losing jobs. Guess what's happening within the blockchain space? Companies are hiring. In fact, the world cannot produce fast enough these skills that this new form of money right now requires. Programmers and all these kinds of people. Now they're required by these companies. Okay, so in a nutshell, over the last few years, this new form of money has created industries around this coin. So when you look at the value, also come up. Okay. So now this new form of money has really created, a whole lot of industries around. That is why, countries that were the first or bold enough to basically create a legal framework for entrepreneurs to work in, as far as this industry is concerned. I'm thinking countries like Malta, countries like Japan, even the US right now is changing its tune. If you look at Germany, you look at Russia has actually identified cryptocurrency mining as one of their strategic industries going forward as a nation. Okay. So there's quite a lot that is happening in and around this new form of money, right? So if you look at just the value, if you look at just the market cap of these coins, right? You look at the value of these coins. One Bitcoin right now is sitting at what? Around $6,700 US. The whole market cap of cryptocurrency is probably around over $200 right now. That's way too small compared to if you were to look at all other businesses combined. So if you were to look at the entire sector, it's probably worth maybe 10 times that. Companies like Bitfury, Bitmain, PTC.com, and there's just so many of these companies. And that is why if you were to look at venture capital, you look at banks are even funding some of these small startup companies that are in the blockchain space. Okay. This new form of money has even created billionaires for that matter. And the beautiful thing about it is that it is still too early. It's still way too early. Give cryptocurrencies the next 10, 20, 30 years, people will still be generating wealth through this new form of money. So it's one of those things where I constantly say one thing, and that is people who become rich in the 21st century, they don't necessarily have doctor's degrees. They're not necessarily, they're not necessarily the smartest people. But what they do is they simply position themselves on the right side of the trend. Okay, they identify a trend, early enough, and make moves to position themselves on the right side of the trend. Okay, right now there's so many things happening around the world, so many economic opportunities for entrepreneurs. But personally, I choose to be, aligned within this new form of money called cryptocurrencies. Why? Because I know right now the market cap is probably worth over $200, but and realistically speaking, in the next 5-10 years, that could easily be over 10 trillion. Okay, right now all the millennials agree, they would rather, instead of investing in stocks and bonds and stuff like that, they would rather invest. In fact, they did a poll in the UK. And then they said, they asked all the millennials, given cryptocurrencies and your stocks and your bonds and stuff like that, where would you rather invest your money? 78% of them said they would rather invest their money in cryptocurrencies, even though 78% of them agreed that they don't know enough about cryptocurrencies at this moment. It shows you how early, this whole revolution is. Okay, so what do we do, you and I? Spend a lot of time studying what this thing is all about. Spend a lot of time, looking for what are the different opportunities, and much like anything else, there will always be the good, there will always be the bad, there will always be the fanakalo. So you just need to be able to, align yourself early enough with the right kind of people. People who've been in this space, who know what is happening. Make YouTube your friend. Stop watching Shimza and Black Coffee, playing house music 24/7, whatever they're doing. That's all good and well, but it's not gonna make you money. Okay? Remember, people who become wealthy, it's not people who are consumers. It's people who are producers. Whatever they're producing, it's always gonna be producers, not necessarily consumers. Okay? So I normally make this analogy. I like property, so I normally make this analogy. In property, you have people who are developers. Okay, they take the first cut, they build, make their markup, and sell. And then you have investors. People like me who will then buy, and then rent out. Okay, those are secondary. And then you have the third leg of people, and those are the people who are basically renting. Okay, yeah, they've got an advantage of a brand new property, still smells fresh and all of that. But who makes money in the value chain? Okay, it's the guys who are in the front. Okay, so it's all that I'm saying, guys. This new form of money, there is a lot of industries around it. There's a lot of opportunities around it. Nigeria just had its first Bitcoin ATM installed. Okay, first Bitcoin ATM installed. How many are there in the world? Probably about 8,000 ATMs right now in the world. And Nigeria just had its first. In South Africa, I think we've got around about 4. Do you think that's going to remain like that forever? It won't, Entrepreneurs will start to put these Bitcoin ATMs all over the country. So, again, it's a matter of learn about this stuff, and find a niche for yourself. There's still going to be a lot, guys. There's going to be the large corporations will need consultations. How do they best position themselves on this thing? They would want their frontline employees, to be trained on what this thing is all about, how it works, and where it's going. And who's best to basically take those opportunities. People who have been in the space, not only that, but people who are able to package. Now you know what I'm talking about. So I'm quite excited about this new industry, guys. Especially with what is happening right now. If you look at the Reserve Bank, it has lowered its interest rate, and I don't think that's the bottom. I think in the next quarter they're going to lower it again, because the worst is yet to come as far as this COVID-19 and economic turmoil. Because even if I doubt that will ever come out of the lockdown by the end of April. It's not feasible. Okay, why? The numbers are still growing. They're not going down. They're still growing. There is no way we're going to come out at the end of April. But then what does that mean for entrepreneurs? What does that mean for the employment rate? What does that mean, for people running small businesses? It spells doom. It spells doom. Okay? It spells, trouble. Because even the monies that are being offered right now, it's loans, which are interest bearing. Okay? That the government is giving small businesses and stuff like that. So, again, it's not looking good for traditional businesses. But I do believe that we will come out of this, on the other hand, stronger and much better. Some more than others, of course. It's all about perspective. Okay, so now with that being said, the Reserve Bank is lowering interest rate, and it's gonna lower the interest rate. But a lot of people don't understand what that means. It then means that, look at what happened to the rand. Immediately after the announcement, the rand was strengthening a bit. It was sitting at around $18.2 to the dollar, 18.0 to the dollar. But after the news, it went up to 18.7. I'm not sure where it's sitting right now. Why? because it means that these guys are gonna add more money onto circulation. And what is that going to mean for us who are saving money? I mean, the Robert Kiyosaki says savers are losers, because then our money loses buying power. Okay, our money loses value. I went to the shop the other day, and what I realized was that things have suddenly become a bit more expensive, and everyone is complaining about the shops and business owners. Why are these guys doing this? Why are the prices going up? They haven't looked at what happened to the dollar, okay, to the rand dollar. They haven't looked at what happened to the rand. Yes, businesses can do that sometimes, but in the main, it's basically the value of the buying power of your rand actually losing value, losing buying power against those items. And when you look at it, you now want to accuse capital and say, capitalism this and capitalism that. Why are things becoming expensive now? It's got to do with money. It's got to do with how money gets created and how it gets generated. Okay, of which it's a subject that I wish all of us could get to learn and understand. Guys, let's go. Yeah, let's go. So it's a study that I would love all of us to actually undertake, because the rich are getting richer, the poor are getting poorer, and the people who are actually going to come out, basically who would have suffered the worst when it comes to what is happening right now, it's basically the middle class. Okay, 3 credit cards, 2 cars to pay, and a bond to pay, school fees, Model C or ex-Model C schools or private schools, all of that still has to be paid. So yeah, guys, it's not all doom and gloom. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. I want to urge you to study cryptocurrencies, guys. Study money. Let's study money. The Reserve Bank lowered interest rate. It means they're gonna pump more money into circulation. What I actually want to look into is that they told us about the interest rate. They haven't told us about the reserve requirement. That's going to be more interesting. What is going to be the reserve requirement right now? Okay, because I can promise you right now that would have been affected as well. Okay, because they're trying all their best to alleviate the pain, the economic pain from what is happening. And there's no two ways about it. If you look what's happening in the US right now, people are getting sick, people are dying, and so South Africa is still doing well. But then the problem is that then what do you do with the economy? Health wise, you can protect the people and do lockdowns and stuff like that, but then how is that affecting the economy? At this stage, it's not really affecting it well. And man, I don't want to be the president right now. It's not easy being in that seat, not at all. I think if there's one thing people need to learn out of all of this, is that we need to find a ways to earn an income that are independent of everything that is happening within government, and there's ways and means of earning an income that's not necessarily adversely affected by things that are happening. There is ways and means. Let's all find those ways. Let's all learn. Let's all be students. Okay. Let's all be students. I think right about now, all of us do agree on the fact that what you are told, go to school, get good grades, get a job, ain't working anymore. And it's not working at all, guys. So we need to do our best and to study how these things work. Study how these things work. I always say to people, when it comes to money, you always want to be curious. You always want to be curious when it comes to money. Otherwise, you're gonna be in trouble. You're gonna be in trouble. Debza, How's it? Debs? Am I the only one who misses driving? I think I miss driving. Don't you guys miss driving? Debs, how are you? Hey, Mr. Dlamini, I haven't seen you in a long time. Guys, let me love and leave you. Let's go and do some work. Let's go and do some work right now. Part of me is really enjoying this lockdown, guys. I don't want to lie. Because it seems like business just took a whole new turn, which is awesome. We can't cry about it. We can't complain. Guys, I want to buy more Bitcoin vaults. Someone was coming buy this car. This could buy me a lot of Bitcoin vault, guys. This is a 2015 model. Anyone wants to make me an offer on this car? I want to buy some more Bitcoin vault. Cheers, guys. Love you all.